for Spiritual Living. Oh, hello, and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living. For those of you who don't know me, I am Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis. I am a 20-plus year minister, ordained minister in religious science. Today, we're going to be speaking about prayer as a spiritual practice, as a way also to keep prayed up. And we'll talk a bit about that in a minute. First, I'd like to introduce my assistant because I look and sound good only because of her, and she's running around in the background all the time. So here's Faith. Say hi, Faith. Hi. Faith was the firstborn in our congregation so many years ago, and so we're really blessed to have her as part of our team. She's my administrative assistant and the junior church director. So everybody, welcome Faith. All right, I'm going to let you go because I know you got a lot to do. So go ahead and get out. Yeah, thanks. I also want to introduce you to Oz, who is our practitioner of the day. He was my first baby practitioner. A lot of firsts around here. He was my first baby practitioner, which means that he went through the practitioner training. He went through all of his training with me. I think you took one class at Mile High. And luckily, with StreamYard, this new software that pushes out to Facebook Live, we have the ability to invite people in. That also means that I do not see when people enter Facebook Live. So I'm going to ask everybody to say hi when you come on so that we know that you're there. All right. And then Miss Tina, who her name is Albertina Giffray, has been a singer in our church, gosh, since 2000, I think. And she's going to be doing the music today. We are featuring Elaine Silver's music, Fairy Elaine, because she has allowed us to use her music. So I'm going to, let's see. Oh, I also need to let you know that there are watch parties that you can start so you can watch them with your friends. So there's a little button that you can push that says start a watch party. Please do so. We need to get as many likes as possible. They won't let us put a donate now button on Facebook until we have 2,000 likes. So we're asking everybody, do watch parties and watch them with your friends. All right, Tina, close your eyes if that feels comfortable and allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
We are all one, we are all one, we are all one in it. I hear and I know it my being. Spirit is all I am seeing, for God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I see, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one, we are all one, we are all one in it. Yes, we are all one, we are all one, we are all one in it.
We are all one, all on the same planet, spinning through space. I feel the ground beneath me and the chair supporting me, and I realize that it is this attraction with our one planet which unites us all. We are all in this situation. We are all at home, And we are all being breathed, being lived by this one force that produces all of existence. The same force in me is the same force in the birds outside that sing and jump from branch to branch, and in the clouds that fly across the sky, and in the stars that are in the backdrop, all the same one power, the same one source. I accept my space in that, and I accept that for all who are here, for I know that this one being animates and enlivens each and every one of us. And the fact that this is so makes me very thankful. With gratitude, I say, this is a blessed event, and I let it be so, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. That was beautiful. And really apropos to our topic today. I want to say again, please, if you join us, say hi. Do the little comment and say hi. I love this new software we're using that allows me to have guests, with me in this broadcast. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't let us see who is there. So we need you to comment and just say hi, so we know who has attended today. I like to know, if I've had an audience, how big the audience is. So please do that. All right. Also, I want to let you know that if you like what's going on here, you can press that little thumbs up, and it'll show up for me that you did that. If you love something I'm saying, do the heart, so I know that you love what I'm saying. And then if something I say really, really impacts you, there's a little wow button. It's that little face that goes, wow. So please feel free to use all those buttons and comment as you like. That way I know we have at least one viewer now. That's good to know. Thank you. All right. So we're going to talk about prayer as a spiritual practice. And I don't care what denomination you're in. Prayer is a good thing. I think anytime you can pray and keep yourself prayed up, as we call it, meaning that, you have prepared yourself for anything that comes your way. Because when you're all prayed up, it's so much easier to handle the circumstances of life. It's so much easier to handle being stuck inside. It's so much easier to handle when you need things done, like hair and nails and eyelashes. It's so much easier to be with whatever's going on and feel like you are supported in the universe. So today I'm going to talk about our form of prayer in religious science, which is called spiritual mind treatment. And the reason it's called that is because we're treating the mind of the one praying. We are allowing our consciousness to align with the same things that God sees, feels, hears, and knows. For instance, God doesn't know anything about poverty, as a perfect example. God's vibration is abundance. And so we tune our awareness into that abundance instead of tuning into the meme of poverty that goes around, especially during, now when businesses are shut down and people are, having less money than they normally are used to. It's so easy to give in to that idea of poverty. So we want to align our thinking with God's thinking. And we want to align our vibration with the abundance of God. So when we say we're treating the consciousness of the person praying, that's what we're saying. And our prayer is an affirmative prayer. We don't beseech God. We don't ask for help. We come from a premise of knowing that it is already so. So we start out the very first step. Well, let me give you the 5 steps, okay? The first step is recognition, then unification, then realization, then thanksgiving, and then release. I'm going to go through each one of them. In recognition, that first step, what we're recognizing is that God is all there is. So in many cultures, in many religions, they believe in a power for good and a power for evil. And the thing is with that is if there was 2 powers and they were equal, then they would cancel each other out. And if the devil were to be more powerful than God, then this world would collapse. So I know that God is all there is. I know that people will ask me all the time, what about evil intentions? And what about, and what I say to that is, we all have free choice. We have free will. And we can choose a pathway that is not for the good. We can choose a pathway that doesn't support the goodness of life. Yep, that's our choice. I personally, and anybody that I teach, personally chooses to use our consciousness for good. So when I say that God is all there is, that's what I mean. And Oz's prayer was so beautiful because we are all one. And that oneness is in the birds, it's in the trees, it's in the flowers. Oh my God, I love my flowers. My neighbor takes care of my garden, and she got me all fresh flowers to sit on my porch. So this morning I went out and just let God show up as flowers. I mean, it was so beautiful. It almost made me cry how pretty it was out there. But that's the knowledge or the awareness or the vibration of knowing that in the universe there is only one power, one presence, one life, one God. And that one infinite intelligence that is of the universe is God showing up in all forms. So when, we have, toilet paper shortages or whatever, I just focus on, in God, there is no shortages. And believe it or not, it's served me really well. I just don't, the only time we had any kind of an issue at all, we had a little challenge with Kleenex because there's 4 of us, using Kleenex in the house. We had a little bit of a challenge, but it didn't last very long because I just kept focusing on God is all there is. And in God, there is no shortage of anything. Because God is all-knowing, all-powerful, all-infinite, all present, everywhere present. And so in that first step of recognition, I am recognizing that. I am recognizing that God is simply all there is, all there ever has been, all there ever will be, just God. And God shows itself in everything. So that brings us to the step of unification. So what I know is that we are made of God, that our bodies, our presence, our soul, our spirit, all of that is made of God. And knowing that that is true, then we can never be separate from God. Now, I've had to change lyrics on a few songs here and there, because if we say we're one with God, that means that there's a power outside of us that we are with. But if I acknowledge that we are all one in it, then what I'm saying is we are all part of the same group. The same consciousness, the same life, the same love, the same divine intelligence. So in the unification step, once I've recognized that God is all there is, what I'm doing is I'm unifying myself with it. So I say, God is what runs in and through me. It is who and what I am. It's my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And so if I'm doing prayer for someone else, like in this situation, I would say then, what I know about Joey and Oz and Faith and Tina and anyone else who is joining in is that we are one in that infinite presence, that one life of God, that the love of God flows through us, that the life of God lives itself through us, that God experiences itself and experiences the world through our eyes, through our ears, through our nose, through our mouth, through our heart. And so when we know that we are one in God, when we know that we are connected through it, by it, as it, then we know for certain, we absolutely know for certain that there is no otherness. There cannot be me and Oz. There cannot be me and Tina. There cannot be me and Faith in God. Yes, we have a separate existence. We move about and we have our free will and we move about and we do everything that we need to do as separate individuals. But connecting us, that bond that happens is one in God. And so when we know that we are one in God, there is no separation. A lot of times when I pray for someone else, I will say, there is no place where I begin and that person leaves off. or there is no place where that person begins and I leave off. For we are one connected unit. And when I do muscle testing, I do kinesiology. When I do muscle testing, what I recognize is that it creates a circuit. It's like an energetic circuit. When I push down and they're strong, I go weak. And when I push down and I'm strong and they're weak, I know that's a negative answer. But because that's only possible because that one energetic flow is happening between us. And that's really what the world is. That's why I say, if we're aware of it, it's ours. Things that are happening in China, or things that are happening in Russia, or things that are happening in Iran, or things that are happening in Afghanistan, all of those things we're all one. And so if it's in my awareness, I'm just as responsible as everyone else. And so that's the unification of our prayer. That's the piece that says we are all one, and that God is all there is, and we are all one in it. The next stage is the realization. And I've talked about affirmations a bit, but I'm gonna do it again, because really spiritual mind treatment is a combination of meditation and affirmation, really. You get meditative in those first two steps to where you just feel blissful. And then you enter with an affirmation that is powered by that emotion that you have generated through those first two steps. And so when we're born, our brain is kind of like a cue ball. It's nice and smooth. The surface is just very smooth. And through repetition, as we learn things, through repetition, we get grooves in the brain. And the more we do something, the deeper the groove gets. And so like driving an automobile is a perfect example. Remember when you first started to drive, for those of you who are old enough to drive, I'm assuming most people on this would be, you had to think about every little action. You had to think about looking in the rearview mirror and putting your foot from the brake to the gas pedal, or vice versa. You had to think about turning that wheel. And as you repeated the motions, as you repeated the actions, your brain developed deeper grooves. And as that happened, you began to have ready access to that information. So that's how affirmations work. If I have a belief in poverty, let's just say, if I have a belief in poverty, the best way to counteract that is to affirm abundance. I have more than enough to share and to spare. I have more than enough to put aside. I have more than enough to live happily and easily and effortlessly. I have more than enough. That's our affirmation. If we're experiencing a fever or a headache or any of these, COVID-19 things that it could be, and we start to panic, we're just going to make ourselves sicker. So instead, we're going to affirm. We're going to affirm, I am healthy and well. My body reflects the vibration of God's health. That's how we're going to do the affirmation. And if we're talking about relationships, think about it, how easy it is to get perturbed at someone else. Okay. When you talk about relationships, what's really true is anything that I react to is something that I have within me that makes me scared. Because I look at you and I see that and it goes, oh no. If I recognize it, it's mine. Okay. So in the affirmation, we can just say, I am in harmony in all my relationships. We can say, but you want to say it over and over again. I think it's like 100 times that you need to say it before it actually starts to dig in there. But we can affirm that my relationships are healthy. We can affirm that my heart feels love. We can affirm all of those things. Well, the third step of treatment is that realization of the affirmation. So in the realization for myself, I will declare what I want, but I declare it in a positive statement as if it is already so. For instance, let's do abundance, just as a quickie. Let's just do abundance. So I would say God is all there is. I would say I am one in it. And I know that infinite flow of abundance of God flows through my life. As such, I know that I have more than enough to share and to spare. And I would do the same thing for others. Usually we do ourselves first and then bring the other people into it. So when I do my prayers for all of you guys that are have asked for prayer, I will pull in that one person by their first name, and I will declare the truth for them. I know right now that Bernard is absolutely perfect in the form that he is, because God is what operates through him. And right now, God's sense of beauty, health, and well-being is now displaying in Bernard's body. And I go through each one of those prayer requests that way. Which brings us to the Thanksgiving step. Now, if you ever look at anything in the Bible about how Jesus actually prayed, you will see that the first thing that Jesus always said was, "Thank you, God, that you hear me now." That's because gratitude sets up that absolute feeling of knowing that life is for us. You know, if life is for us, nothing can be against us, right? So the gratitude step is really, really important. Now, I don't go back into I'm thankful that I got this $500 check. We're not going to do that. In that gratitude step, what we want to do is, again, we want to beautifully allow that feeling of gratitude to fuel everything that we are trying to accomplish. And so in the gratitude step, what we're trying to do, or what we're doing, we're not trying. Have you ever tried to pick up a pencil? You either do or you don't, We can't try. So what we're doing in that gratitude step is we are allowing that feeling of gratitude to flow through us. And I always say, I am so thankful that this is so. Right? So I've said, God is all there is. I am one in that. God's abundance flows through me easily and effortlessly. Therefore, I have enough to share and to spend, and I give great thanks to know that it is so. That one phrase for me and the gratitude starts to flow. You're going to pick whatever gratitude statement does it for you, as long as you don't go back and pick up the issue. You don't want to pick up that issue. You want to let it go, which brings us to release. Now, here's what's funny. The release step is really an easy one in one respect. It's simple. Let's put it that way. It's simple, but it's not easy. Because I know that when you go out in the garden and you dig a hole and you put seeds in it and you cover them up, you don't check every 5 minutes to make sure it's growing, right? If you do, I feel for you. But the thing is that with prayer, we tend to do that. With prayer, we're like, oh, it's been 5 minutes. I don't see any abundance. What happened? Where'd it go? Where's my abundance? I want it now. And that's the same thing as digging up that seed just to see if it's grown anything. And so, oh my goodness, we have somebody from India. So we want to make sure that we release this prayer. And in in religious science, what we say is, and so it is. A lot of us say amen at the end just because we've been trained to say amen. It's not necessary. You can say, and so it is. But if you need that closure, say it, because I do, But you want to make sure that you don't pick it up after that. You want to trust that the power of God, the influence of God, the life of God is operating through your life right now. And once you get that, it's easy to release it. And if it pops into your head again, you go, nope, that's taken care of. God's got that one. I don't need to worry about it because God's got it, right? Okay. So that's the release step. So we've gone through, God is all there is. I am one in that. I am one in God. God's abundance flows through me as easily and effortlessly as possible. And I have more than enough to share and to spare. I am grateful that this is so, and so it is. Amen. And that would be our prayer. So when I finish this little talk, I'm going to do prayer because I forgot last week. Well, I didn't forget. What happened was I looked at the clock, which I'm never allowed to do anymore. I looked at the clock and thought, oh my God, we're running over. And Faith said, no, don't worry about running over if you're over a few minutes. I'm sure people won't mind if you're over a few minutes. But she said she waited for the prayer and I didn't do it. So I felt bad. So I am going to do the prayer every Sunday after my little talk. But But you will notice that the prayer that I do is going to follow that same formula, those 5 steps: recognition, unification, realization, gratitude, and release. Thankfulness. I like the word thankfulness better than gratitude. I didn't name the steps. Ernest Holmes, our founder, did. So, all right. So I want to review with you also keeping prayed up, because keeping prayed up is such an important thing. It's like going to the gym. The first time you go to the gym, remember how sore your muscles are? You can't quite move the next day. If you keep going to the gym, your muscles get accustomed to the exercise and you're able to do it more easily. And that's the way prayer works. You want to exercise your prayer muscle as often as possible. That's what we call being prayed up. So that when you find yourself dealing with a circumstance that is not as pleasurable as you would like, you can jump to consciousness right away. And you can do prayer sitting in the middle of New York City with all the horns honking and everything, all the busyness that happens. You can do prayer because you can get centered right away if you're accustomed to getting that pathway going. Remember, the pathway's in the brain. So if you're digging the groove of prayer in the brain, your brain will automatically jump to consciousness the minute you begin to pray. The first place where I say God is all there is, right away my body responds. My body knows because it's trained to. Oh, God is all there is. I can relax and let go. I can allow God in, and I can allow God to move through me, to work through me. And so I want to invite you to make prayer a daily practice for yourself, even if you're just praying for yourself, or those of you who are on my God Squad, we've asked you to pray for everybody by their first name that has asked for prayer. So I'm going to invite you right now to say prayer in the comments if you would like prayer. We're already doing prayer for most of you, but if you are new to us, please type prayer in the comment thing if you would like prayer. All right. Okay, so I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And I'm going to move into the knowingness that God is simply all there is. One power, one presence, one life, one love, one divine intelligence flowing through all of life. The birds, the bees, the flowers, the trees, the ocean, the waves, the sands on the beach. One power, one presence, one life. And that one life, being all there is, all there ever has been, all there ever will be, is what runs through me. That is my essence, my very life, my very beingness, who and what I am. I am that one life. I am that one love. I am that one power, that one presence as it operates through me. I know that same truth to be so right now for Oz and for Tina and for Faith and for Joey and for Alex and for Steve and for everyone else that is tuned in today, and everyone who hasn't tuned into us yet, who has not found us yet. I know that one power, that one presence, that one life, that one love is who and what we are. And the heart that beats within us is God's heart. And the love that we experience is God's love flowing to us through other people. I know that the sights and the sounds and the smells and the tastes are all God operating through us. For we are one. Infinitely, absolutely, continuously. We are one. As I know that to be so, I know in this moment that all of us are absolutely blessed with whatever experience we have requested through prayer, because I know that those prayers have already been answered, that those are already done in the eyes of God. And as we move through the motions of the human experience, God blesses us with that request being met. It has been met already, here and now, absolutely, infinitely, continuously. And so I give thanks to know that this is so, and I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. Whew. All right, now is the time for us to share our abundance, to be grateful that we have more than enough to share and to spare, to be grateful for that which we have already manifested, but it hasn't shown up yet in physical form. Please click on the, oh, we can't do that. Okay. Sorry, don't click on the Learn Now. It doesn't work. You don't have a Learn Now here. Okay, so what we're going to do is Faith has just put up our website. Go to www.oasiscsl.org. That is our website. On the very first page, there's a Donate Now button. If you're watching this later, you can still participate in the blessing of our contributions by following these same instructions. You're going to go to that Donate Now button. Before you click it, let's do the affirmation so that we are all in one consciousness about it. I want to invite you to not just donate, but contribute. You're contributing to your own abundance, the flow of abundance through you. It's a cycle. It's a flow. It's a loop. When you share, then God's abundance can move through your experience and come back to you. And so why we give is that. Why we participate is because we believe in the message. We participate because we believe in this process that I'm doing here, supporting the world as best I can. You know, these talks that I give are, they're not for my ego. I'm here trying to elevate the spirituality of everybody while we're all confined like this. So when you participate, you're participating in that. You're participating your energy, your money, yourself in that message that I'm bringing to the world. All right. So Tina, this perfect, I want you to, as you're hitting that Donate Now button, I want you to say, this perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is.
What is this joy that I feel? Spirit is helping me heal. Life is full of twists and turns. To the source I now return. This is peace that I know. Spirit is helping me grow. Life is change and change is life. I am walking in the light. When I feel joy, the world's more joyful. When I feel peace, the world's more peaceful. What is this love in presence? In time it all makes good sense. Life is full of ups and downs. In God's hands I can be found. I feel joy, the world's more joyful. When I feel What's more peaceful? What is this joy that I feel? Spirit is helping me heal. Life is full of twists and turns. To the source I now return. Life is strange and change is life. I am walking in the light. Life is full of ups and downs. In God's hands I will be found. In God's hands I can be found. In God's hands I can be found.
Thank you, Tina. I appear with a mask on. Okay, so let me see. I don't have a mirror, so there we go. All right, so I just wanted to, I'm going to show you this. This is a mask that my cousin, Brooks Luby, is a designer. This is a jacket of hers from years ago that my mom bought. And this is the mask that she's making. I'm going to take this off because it's hard to talk through this. Brooks Luby is making those masks. She started out making them for nurses. And now that they're starting to get more PPE and the need isn't as great, she is now selling those masks for $24. They're wonderful masks made with very good quality fabrics. And you can get that through messaging her. Brooks Luby Limited Ltd is her Facebook, and you PM her and she will arrange for you. It's $24 plus shipping, I believe she said. Okay, so I want to also remind you that if you would like prayer and you want to be added to our prayer list, type the word prayer in the comments. If you would like to be on our prayer team, which is called the God Squad, say yes in the comments. If you're already on there, you don't need to do that. This is just people who are now joining. And if you would like to see more of this and join our spiritual community, online community, type more, and we will put you in the community. So we started to offer a deep dive after the service, and we haven't had any takers. So I don't know if that's because you don't want to do a deep dive into the topics. I know that several of you have voiced that you would like to have some social time. My goodness, my hair. You would like to have some social time. And so we can also do that after the service right here. I can pull you in through StreamYard if you want to do that. I know that Alex wants that. If anybody else does, please private message us with your email address, and Faith will send you an invitation. Okay? All right. So then the other thing is, let's see. You want to check out our website, oasiscsl.org. My God. And we have all kinds of videos and pictures from our events that we used to have. We have picnics on there. There was Jan Coulter's, I think it was her 60th birthday, where Audielle dressed up as the Grim Reaper as a joke. We had a lot of fun. So if you're part of the church that has, was at any of these, or even if you're not and want to see what kind of activities we used to have, you can see our sense of humor. Click on our website, check it out, see what's going on in the world, in our world. All right. Thank you for being with us today. Tune in next week and every Sunday. See, I'm short again.
You're missing Elaine.
Elaine. She's so right. Thank God for Faith. I'm telling you. Elaine Silver is awesome. Fairy Elaine Silver. She came to our church, gosh, it had to be 20 years ago. And we did a service, and it was really fun because she did a song, and then I would speak about what she just sang. And then she would sing about what I just said. And then Reverend Lynn would get up and do a 5-minute sermon on what she just sang. And it just kept going like that. And we sold 35 CDs from the service. So it was a really powerful service for everybody. And Elaine Silver, through the years, we've maintained a very good friendship. When I go out to Florida, sometimes I set up events where I talk and she sings. She has offered us to use her music, which is very nice of her to do. And so bless you, Elaine. If you would like to purchase her CDs, you will go to
Link in the comments.
Link in the comments. There it is. www.elainesilver.com. Her website, it doesn't work the way it used to, and she's had some frustration with that, but it's okay. So what you want to do is go on and you're going to look at the recordings and decide which ones you want to buy, and then you're going to email her and tell her what you want, and you will send her a check, and she will send the CDs out. We got 4 new CDs. I ordered 3, and she threw in her latest one. So Napa. I'm not sure I understand that. Okay, so thank you all for being with us today. Tune in next week. It's 11:11, which is the Fred and Kathy moment. Hi, Fred and Kathy. Tune in next week and every week to join us for the Sunday celebration. And stay safe, everybody. Bye until next week. Why am I